How is this? In distributing doc series like Journey of an African Colony and for young filmmakers in the house, do we have to wait for the Netflix to get our films out there on the international spectrum? I'm sure most time you don't want to put it on YouTube because now we have issues of people cutting bits and pieces of movies and owning it as their own. How do we reconcile having a platform where we can put our documentary series and show it globally to the world without going to Netflix, without going to Amazon, and not also being restricted to what to say and what not to say, what clauses you need to put here? You need to put nude scene, you don't need to put nude scene, you need to show this, you don't need to show this. We need that platform.
We do.
Yes. So
I agree, and I'm ready. Anyone that wants to come on board, come, let's go.
So if you have a pitch for a platform that we can use to promote doc series all over the world, please, we need to build one, because I know quite a lot of movies that are the risk of the mercy of some of these platforms because of what they want to see and what they feel is good for international audience or not. Not forgetting the fact that this is our history that we need to tell. There are millions of Nigerians all around the world. So we are not restricted or limited to if the white man sees or if the brown man sees. If Nigerians alone should see your movie all around Nigeria, it's good for you. But how do we get that? As a filmmaker, you've established yourself. But for young filmmakers who want to get into the space, that is a number one discouraging factor because they want to know how they will distribute.
That's a challenge, I must say. But then I prefer to look within Africa first before I go out. I prefer because most of the stories we're telling is about Africa for now, and so I'd rather get a platform or platforms in Africa, go on some kind of tour, or one has to get innovative until we get together and blow Netflix out if we must. I dare say. I think so, don't you? Yeah.
Let's talk about The Loot and the Lost Kingdom. It's not out yet.
It's out.
On
on our shelves for now. I'm ready to go out. But yeah, it's out. And it was very topical. So a couple of people used it for their events. As we did Journey at first, we had put it on channels so that we ourselves can see and appreciate is what got the attention of Netflix. So you have to suffer that route on for most products, and then the rest may unfold for good, on the international platform. But that's the route we went. We went first to channels for nothing, and then we continued talking to Netflix, and they bid.
Okay. How the economics of making some of your movies, Journey of an African Colony and the Loot and the Lost Kingdom, which has a higher budget in terms of production base?
Oh my God, Journey, because don't forget we were novices then, yeah? So so we just kept pouring because we just were so
Can you give us an idea?
I can't remember, it's been so long ago, and my accountant isn't here. Did the accountant come with us? No, sorry. I'll send you a DM.
No, it's not about me. I mean, people. Everybody.
If you sit down and look and see the amount of footage.
Yes.
And we bought it for life, not to rent for years, so that we can keep playing it for life. So that's the budget I had.
I know for a fact when it comes to making historical movies or biopics or a film that are history themed, if there's something that is going to shoot you in the leg first is the historical, the archival images and clips. The licensing fee is insane.
We just finished. It has to be like it's going somewhere, and I don't want anyone being sued, and therefore I'm being sued. So yeah.
Okay. For young filmmakers who want to dive into making history movies, I know for a fact if you are making commercial, non-commercial movie, you can hide under the rights of fair use and fair usage for using some of these materials, but you can hide under the rights of fair use and fair usage in terms of historical archival material. But for someone who wants to do something commercial and has like zero budget, how do they go about it? What to do?
I wouldn't do a loan ever. But then now there's what's the body that has just been formed for getting funding for movies that we were involved with? No, here, no, that's a new project. I'm talking about, sorry, okay. It happens. It's called a brain freeze. It's, no. It's a film thingy that just came up. No, that we're involved with. Onyekon was working with them. There are certain organizations that are coming up. There are one or two that, will give you funding for a film over the last 12, 15 months. So it's new and they're just about to start. Okay. I'll remember once I sit down and I'm not on the hot seat. Yes, Utica, and then there's another one as well coming up. Yeah. So there's hope for those who want to go into filmmaking. All right. And all of that. Utica.
All right. So can we just take questions from the house if you have questions around this? Okay. Sorry, please. Come.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Folakemi. I'm from the Pan-Atlantic University. Thank you so much for this presentation. Thank you for the body of work that you have done. It is really, really commendable. I mean, when you were talking about the archival footages and all that, I know how difficult it is, I know how expensive it is, and I just have to commend you. And also, looking at the sensitivity of the kind of stories that you're telling, it takes a lot of courage. And I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing. And also to say that at my school, we have the Nollywood Studies Center, which is like a mini archive, so to speak. And I don't know if we can get some of your, films to keep, and also to show our students. Yes, we are an archive, an educational archive. I don't know whether I'm making sense in the business sense of it, but I don't know.
You mean
for,
to use
for the students, yes, to show and all of that.
I'm sure we can work something out.
Okay, I'll see you after this. And also to say that, they say that documentaries are like a representation of reality. They are not exactly reality in the actual sense of the word. And you have to deal with a whole lot, because some people say it's propaganda, there's always some bias or leaning. So, but I know that you do a lot of objective work. So how do you maintain that balance? How do you stay ethical? Whose story are you telling? Whose voices are heard, whose voices are silenced? Because the other time you were mentioning that to bring out the Biafran or the Civil War stories, you had to...
The follow-up to Journey, yes.
Exactly, that you had to take some step back and really think things through. So I'm just looking at how you go through all of these dynamics. Thank you so much.
Yes, timing is important. For example, Loot and the Lost Kingdoms came at a time when they were trying to return certain artifacts after hundreds of years. All the juju in the amulets and all had crossed overseas, and I don't know. But then it was a time when it was topical and it was timely. Journey 2 could have come out, but what would it have caused? Because people had seen Journey 1 and were happy to learn different angles of our history, and I'm not sure if they were prepared to go straight into Journey 2, the Civil War, and not cause a ruckus. Right now, I think there's been a bit of a break. There's been stuff going on and whatnot. And we're ready now, in my estimation, for Journey 2. So, timing, money, and life's curveballs will assist me in deciding when to go for this, or when to go for that, or when to go for them.
Good evening. I must commend your works. I remember seeing one of them on channels then. Interesting work. I must commend again. Well done, man. First to ask, at some point, the moderator asked a question around research and how you navigated the route. I understand that as beginners, you're able to play the role of a researcher, of the scriptwriter, of the producer, and of course as many roles as you're able to play by yourself. But as you begin to evolve, as you begin to expand, how do you cut these roles, separate the role of the researcher from that of the scriptwriter and the producer? How do you define whose role, who plays what role? Yeah. Yes, and secondly, to ask, I had an engagement with some young persons about documentary, and immediate response was, younger Gen Zs, how do you expect us to be watching documentary, because the feeling for those young persons that I interacted with was documentary. That seemed to be the film for old people, right? So how do we engage, how do we tell our stories, how do we document in such a manner as to appeal to the younger generation? And finally, to ask, were there times, or are there times where you had to engage more than one project, simultaneously, having like 2, 3 projects at the same time? How do you navigate such a route?
Okay, so the first one was, how do you separate the roles? People have their niche areas and they come on board. You pick the best and the most available for when you're ready to embark on the project. So you pick whoever is the best that's available to you at the time, or you have them in-house, as we have grown to have now at Kuramo. And yeah, sometimes after a while, when you get into a project, the script writing, all of the stuff, the process along the way, you find everybody's buy-in and everybody's doing a little bit of research, of bringing information they found out about what the project is about. So it becomes one team very shortly and very soon into the project, the life of the project. Does that answer number one? Yeah? So number 2, you wanted?
How do we document? How do we tell stories as to appeal to the Gen Zs, the younger generation?
The Gen Zs have a lot to learn because we mothers haven't told them everything that they need to know, especially in their growing up. I have a couple in my house as well. So what it is that where the lapses are, we'd start research, or what I find to be questions that are normally or very frequently asked by the Gen Z people, we look into it and say, perhaps we want to talk about this, perhaps we want to tell stories and give more facts around this, so that they can fully understand as they grow what it entails. Whatever it is that they want to hear, if it is something that we can tell properly and accurately, then we will tell it. There isn't a hat with topics in it that you draw out of. It's just, they were very interested in all our artifacts spread all over the world, and wondered, I think more light was shed in Operation Legacy. And there were things they didn't know, as, for example, our archives that were burnt when the colonialists left, not many people knew that, and that was Operation Legacy. So we thought that it would be remiss of us not to tell that story. So we went ahead and told the story. Third thing you wanted to know?
Were there times you ran multiple projects simultaneously?
Oh yes.
How do you navigate?
It depends what stage. I don't think we've ever hit a time yet where we're filming more than one project. Some are at the script writing stage, others are at different stages. Do you see what I'm saying? And so we get on with everything at the same time. Yes?
Do we have more questions? So I think in the absence of no, we'll just call it a wrap.
All in favor say aye.
All in the favor say aye. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. We finished ahead of time. The next session is at 4 o'clock, and we'll be discussing how documentary film can shape the polity. How you can use your documentary film to affect or to change the polity. So we'll be back here for 4 o'clock. We have the moderator, we have one of the speakers around, and the others are going to join us. So let's just stretch our leg for the next 10 minutes, and then we'll convene here for that session. Thank you very much, everyone. 4 o'clock, please. 4. Tech, can I have the poster on stage? Please, let's put the poster on the screen. So in 10 minutes, we'll be back. Oh, another speaker has just shown up. Please, in 10 minutes, let's reconvene.
You cannot say that. No, you never did. I don't tell lies in the afternoon. No, you never told me. Let me see that this back.
Where's Wale?
Don't wait for Nigeria. I want you to go. Don't wait for Reuben Abati.
Okay, he's not here yet.
You know, he went to Anambra for media chat. The flight was for 2. He shifted to 4. They said they are trying to arrange.
What about the filmmaker?
But we'll start by showing the film.
Okay, no problem. So we're coming with I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's listen.
It's coming. I don't need to extract it. I just want to delete it from the system. Okay. Which one now do you want to do? The one we just finished screening. Okay. Yes. I thought that you are the one that wants.
politics in Nigeria has always been a voice of women.
The percentage of female representation is currently at a dismal 3.6%.
If we don't bring gender, what will happen to 51%?
Despite being a little over half of the voting population, through systemic
Hello. Please, the filmmaker is not here yet, but we don't really need that at this beginning. We just want to show excerpts from the film, and then the panel will convene. Even if you have just 3 of you here, we'll start the conversation, and then we know where we're going. What we're discussing is how documentary film can affect the polity, or how films can shape or change the polity. That's what we want to discuss this afternoon. So we're going to take an excerpt of about 5 to 10 minutes, and from there I'll call on the moderator and some of the speakers. Where I'll arrange that now. So we just show excerpt from the film, and then we take it from there. Thank you.
barriers and deep-seated cultural resistance, the Nigerian woman is pushed out of the political space, sometimes violently, when her ambitions extend to leadership.
If you are not strong-willed, please don't come into the fray.
But there are women who have refused to be coward and dare to challenge the status quo.
So I keep saying it like I'm outworking my opponent at the prime.
Nigerian society, these women in the boys' club that is Nigerian politics are a double minority. This is their story.
My name is Oludamola, and I'm seeking to represent the people of Ikere Constituency at the Ekiti State House of Assembly under the platform of the PDP.
My name is Adeoye Aziz. I'm running under the Social Democratic Party. I am contesting for the House of Representatives under Ijebu Central Federal Constituency.
Nena Elendu KJ. I'm the PDP candidate for the House of Representatives for Bende Federal Constituency.
My name is Natasha Hadiza Koti-Oduaha, and I am contesting to be Senator of Kogi Central District under the banner of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP.
Ireti Hiba Kingibe, and I am the Labour Party senatorial candidate for the Federal Capital Territory.
My name is Hawa Abdullahi Gambo. I am running for the seat of the House of Representatives, Chukunkaju Federal Constituency, under the platform of African Democratic Congress, ADC.
I am Munira Suleiman Talimu, here in East Constituency.
My name is Joy Daniels, and I aspire to be chairman, Eastern Central Local Government Area of Edo State, on the platform of the People's Democratic Party.
My name is Khadija Abdullahi. I'm the gubernatorial candidate for Okhai, Niger State.
I have always been particular about social justice. So I was born October 9, 1989 in Oshogbo. I didn't grow up with like a silver spoon or anything. I grew up just regular. I grew up in Oshogbo, a small town. But I had the benefit of or advantage of having parents who were very much educated. My first memory of inequality was still while I was in primary school. And I remember seeing a child, and I remember looking like I could not understand it, like, why is this child not in school? So I started understanding inequality at a very early age.
There was even a time something happened, I realized that she had some children, she was taking care of their education. So she has been doing things like that.
After secondary school, I went to UI, same environment. I studied physiology in UI, so that was the medical faculty. And after that, I went on to take a certificate course from the Pan-Atlantic University, EDC, Lagos Business School, blah, 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 social sector management. And then finally, I have a micro-masters from MIT in data economics and development policy. I founded a non-profit, Aspilus Foundation. I was pushing my work of social development through that. So we train young women on web development, product design, and data science. One day, someone introduced me to the essay to the governor, SSA to the governor on ICT. He made sure we got an MOU that was signed. And so we have the capacity to train like 200 people every year in Abeokuta. He never asked for one dime, nothing. Very.
Kò lè dọ́gba pé báyé ṣe rí nìyẹn ìka gan ìka ò dọ́gba so ní kó dọ́gba but kí gbogbo wa lè lọ school tó dáa kí gbogbo wa lè rí iná kí gbogbo wa lè rí ọ̀nà tó dáa kí gbogbo wa lómi ṣé ìyẹn ò pọ̀ jù ká láti béèrè lọ́wọ́ ìjọba.
We pretty much had all our stuff left and found her apartment in Abuja, bagged all our things inside the car, inside 3 cars, and drove down here.
I told her, I'm not a politician and I don't trust politicians. And I would not want anything to affect my children.
I'm convinced by her conviction, so the only thing I can do is to support her, and that's what I've done.
And I believe that's the stuff Simi is made of. I believe she will do well. She also needs to learn a lot of things because politics is not civil society. It is not your regular cup of tea. There are too many ups and downs. But she's a good person. She will go very far.
My name is Natasha Hadiza Koti-Uduaha, and I am contesting to be Senator of Kogi Central District under the banner of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP.
I would say my interest in communities matters started as a child. Like I said, I was exposed to the activities of my father from a very young age. Even though he was a medical doctor, community engagement was at the core of everything he did. And usually I would accompany him to his visits. And after school, I would stay with him while he treated people. And I observed how his heart was endeared to the poor. Making profit was never at the point, should I say, the core of his work. And I had to ask him several times, especially when we struggled to put food on the table. A number of times we'll have just a meal a day. And I never really had nice clothes often. Many times I would wear at home my old school uniforms. And sometimes I would pass them as pajamas to my brothers. I mean, it was such a funny story. And then still, every time, my dad was never tired, he never got tired of educating me on the importance of community service. My dad actually, Dr. Jimo Abdullah Koti of blessed memory, was the first member of the House of Representatives for Adabi, Okhai, and the new Kogi state then, because the state was just created. So it won't be wrong for me to say that not only did I get the shaping of my character and my focus on humanity, but I also, should I say, inherited the political goodwill of my father. My senior secondary was in Federal Government College Doani, Ondo State, and then I proceeded to the University of Abuja, studied law, and then the law school I attended in Buhari, still Abuja. Then I proceeded to the University of Dundee for my MBA in oil and gas management. I did petroleum law and policy, and that's it. My decision to join politics came after my presentation on the debate of the need for Nigeria to resuscitate its steel industry, especially Ajakuta Steel Company, on the floor.
Thank you very much. This was supposed to show an excerpt, but the filmmaker is not with us here. She was going to bring us an excerpt. So we just leave this one for now. When she comes, if there is time, you can use your discretion to. So this panel, okay, let me call the panelists first. Our moderator is Dr. Ogungbe, who is a teacher of film, media, from the School of Media and Communication, the Pan-Atlantic University. She will be moderating. I don't know where you want to sit. Anywhere. Please, a big round of applause for her. Okay. From the same school, I think we are lucky to have your school. Dr. Anuli, thank you. Ajina. She's also from the School of Media and Communication, Pan-Atlantic University. And I'll just give a brief talk on why we chose this film. I think you should come in, so you don't do faculty meeting. Dr. Victor Okhai, who I was personally challenged when I started seeing him giving analysis, because we knew him to be Nollywood filmmaker. But then he's been consistently on Channels TV, on AriseTV. He's always like #1 person to call to come and give analysis about Nigerian politics. And so I wasn't surprised that I tried to be, was it president of Nigeria? He was on the ballot. And they allotted how much vote? You know, it was the time of allotment. Dr. Victor Okhai, immediate past president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. He's a filmmaker, he runs a film school, he's a media consultant. There's nothing he doesn't do. And then he has been a politician too. And they showed him pepper. Well, the filmmaker, Kaderi Ahmed, is supposed to join us, but she already gave, because she had to travel to Kaduna. She's on her way. Dr. Reuben Abati too, flight delay. He says he will be joining us. And if you can join online, I'll check if you can still join us online. But we have a lot of people online who are with us. But I've said one of our teachers who is teaching film and drama, he has been coordinating a workshop for young people who write on Nigerian election. I've forgotten the title of the series we are doing for BBC. He was coordinating it for a long time, and he's also the head of academy for the CAP Academy at Kuli Afolayan Productions Academy. I said it should be here because we're talking about how film, how documentary can affect. Yeah. Professor Tunde Aziz, please. Because we're talking about how film, documentary film can affect elections, so that we know the power that we have. Okay, please, because we paid the cameraman, he's saying that everybody, please try to come to the front, so that it looks like we have crowd, although we have crowd online. Oh, to the faces. But they have to climb up. Oh, okay. So please, let's just occupy the middle here. Let's occupy the middle, so the latecomers will come to the side. Let's just occupy the middle because of picture. We thank those who have been online since morning. They've been there, Dr. Adeoye, Abodunrin. There are so many of them who have been there since morning. They're listening to us. And when you want to contribute, just raise up your hand in the place, and then I'll call you to contribute. Thank you very much, Dr. Gungwe. This floor is yours now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you so much. What we're going to talk about today is very dear to my heart for obvious reason. I'm a woman, all right? And it's also the Women's Month. Actually, it's supposed to be one day, but I mean, we've taken over the entire month. So we can say it's the Women's Month. March is the Women's Month. Yes, that's it. Clock it. Okay, so it's really dear to my heart, and I'm so happy to be moderating this conversation. Also, I'm a teacher, and I'm used to preparing lesson notes. So I have some little lesson notes that I would like to read out, just to also prepare us for the conversation that we are going to be having, because we could not see the entire documentary. So please permit me. Good evening once again. It's a pleasure to be here and to moderate this conversation around a film that does more than document. It intervenes. It enters directly into questions of power, visibility, and the structures that determine who gets to occupy political space, especially in Nigeria. Ms. Kadaria Ahmed, who is the director of this film, will be joining us very soon, but I'm saying our congratulations to her in absentia for the work well done, and also to congratulate Ishaya, Bako and Tomilade Olugbemi for bringing the project into life. The title of the film is Double Minority. Please let that sink a bit. Double minority. And it turns its attention to women in Nigerian politics. And when I say Nigerian politics, I'm saying active politics, elective positions. So it's not simply highlighting underrepresentation, which is the fact that not many women are in politics, but it's also interrogating the conditions that is sustaining this underrepresentation. So the idea of double minority is both about the numbers of women and the structure that is working against having women in politics. So the numbers are stark across local, state, and federal levels. I think in the documentary, I saw 6.35% only of women are in active politics in Nigeria. So the numbers are stark, there's significant underrepresentation, and the pathway into politics is often marked by harassment, intimidation, violence, and real personal risk. But beyond the numbers lies the question of structure. How political systems determine who is seen as viable, who is supported, and who is ultimately allowed to lead. Because let's look at it critically. Women are not entirely absent from politics. They are used to fill in the gaps. They are the ones dancing at rallies, serving the food, persuading other women to vote, doing the actual voting. I've heard in the documentary, I heard somebody said, no woman, no votes. No woman, no votes. So the women numbers are actually significant. But when it comes to candidacy, when it comes to leadership and the elected office, they are systematically edged out. So the question now shifts. It is no longer whether women can participate, but whether the system is structured to use their labor and not deny them, power. And this is where the film is particularly compelling, because it's gesturing towards something we often overlook, that women are already embedded in everyday work of problem solving. Women are solving problems in the family, in the community, and in informal economies. But they're already doing the work that governance claims to address. So we have a lot of voices in this film. We had that of Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, Ireti Kingibe, Nena Eledu Ukeje, alongside Adeola Aziz, Simi Olushola, Hawa Gambo, Khadija Abdullahi, and so on and so forth. So the film is pointing us to continuity between everyday labor and governance. Now, one tension emerges. If the capacity is already present, why does former political power remain so resistant to it? And this is not uniquely Nigerian. I mean, we know what is going on around the world. Across contexts, women encounter what has been described as a double bind. They are expected to lead, yet penalized for how they lead. But here in Nigeria, the stakes are even heightened by political culture, by persistent social attitude towards women, And at times, by the misrepresentation of religion, I have to say misrepresentation of religion, because religion in itself is not against women. It is the misrepresentation of religion. And it misrepresents them in ways that restricts rather than enable participation. So, like I said, the film is not simply about representation. It is a film about the architecture of power and the conditions under which it excludes women. So, Dr. Okhai, naturally, you will be my first go-to person. I mean, what do you think about what I've said? And also, you coming from both industry and a structural standpoint. And I mean, you could have been our president at some point in time because you were aspiring for that. So this is very germane to you, and I feel like I won't be doing justice if I don't start with you. So, I mean, we've seen women in sectors such as banking excelling. I was in a bank some few years ago, it's about 10 years ago, and at that time, we had more men as the MDs, the CEOs, but it's like there's a shift right now. The women are there, and they are doing excellently well. So why is this not being replicated in politics? Is this resistance structural? Are women structurally positioned not to participate? What is really going on? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And permit me to say thank you for the wonderful keynote. It does set the pace for the discussions that we're having now. So things are evolving. Time was when, you know, it was more about brawn than brains. When in those days, you know, famine was it, and so you had to be muscular, you have to be muscular, you have to be strong and all that. But with the age we're in now, this time is a leveler, let me put it that way. And because now it's no longer about muscles, it's about brain, we have since found out that the women have taken over. Now let I talk. Let's not deceive her. You talked about banking. In Nollywood, the women have also taken over. But the question is, what is happening in politics? I'm going to be very, excuse my use of the word vulgar, and I'm not going to put any negative words. What I mean is, I'm going to be very blunt in the way I'm speaking, raw. The biggest enemies of women in politics are women. Okay? If you check, go back to our traditional setups, you find that traditionally it is the women that put down the women more than even the men. If you look at things like the traditional rights of when a husband dies, what the woman goes through and all that, the women are the ones that do the imposition, that force the woman whether to drink the water that is used to bathe the corpse and all of that. You may want to ask me, how related is all of this? Now, we have had strong women over the years. Kuti, Fumilayo, Gambo Sawaba, Margaret Ekpo, Queen Amina. What fascinates me the most about Queen Amina was that in her time, I mean, it's a traditional society. She wasn't a Muslim because then Islam was not really, but it was a very traditional society, and yet she emerged. So women have always had the capacity over the years, not only to rule, but to assert themselves if other women don't bring them down. Okay? Now, if we look at what is happening today, Natasha is one of those women who have consistently asserted themselves and refused to be put down. The men have tried because they make it look like, no, this is a male-dominated area. Women have no business being here. But she recognizes the fact that she's first of all a human being, you know, and that it is not, politics is not about gender, it's about what you have here. And the reason she can succeed, and she has succeeded, is because she has the support of her people. She has done well by her people. They support her. The women there support her. The men support her. And that's why she can succeed. And so the problems we are having with women in politics generally is not so much the fact that people don't want to accept women, but first of all, the women have to accept the fact that they are, first of all, human beings, like they have done in banking and the other places, that it is about brawn, it's about what you can bring to the table. It's not about gender or anything of the sort. I'll summarize by saying we have seen examples in other countries. In New Zealand, not too long ago, a woman in her mid-30s or early 30s, single mother, although she was engaged at the time too, but not married, and a DJ became their prime minister. She was a DJ. Around the same time, in Austria, a lady too also ascended to the highest. I'm not talking about the Thatchers of this world and the rest. Why did I bring the New Zealand lady? All the odds you can think about were stacked against her. Single mother, DJ, you know what I mean? She was very young. That single mother is not married. So youth was on her side, but she understood one thing: I'm bringing value to the table. And she moved, and everybody else saw the vision that she was projecting, and they supported her, and they rallied behind her. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but I want to say that, in summary, women should support women.
You can't summarize yet.
No, not summary for this.
Even for this. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much, Dr. Victor. So we tend to banter. I mean, it's my big brother, it's my oga. It took me by the hand literally, and it's been really there for me. But I'm going to take you up on one thing you said before we move to the other panelists. You said women are the biggest enemy. I'm trying to quote you. The biggest enemies of women in politics are women. Yes. But we have someone like Natasha. Are our enemies women?
In the National Assembly, yes. No. Sorry. You asked me a question.
1 minute.
Okay. See, you can't win this against me. Even if you bring every other argument, I will conclude by saying, we men. It will still sound like women. I'm not with you. But anyway, if you saw what happened even recently when this the United Nations event, King Gibe, who even said she will give up her position for her, did she give up her position? It's the women that are working against women. Anyway, let me not say too much.
Yes, we'll come back to that because I do not agree, but we'll come back to that. Professor Aziz, I'm coming to you next. So let me take you to the space of media and power. Now, if media plays a role in shaping what society accepts as the truth, I mean, talking about documentaries now. We've had thinkers like Michel Foucault and so on and so forth. So how do we convert documentaries like this into real agents of change? I mean, it's one thing to make a documentary to give visibility.
I think the filmmaker is here, so.
Oh, okay. Doctor, okay.
Is she here now? We should wait for her.
All right. So it's one thing to make a documentary and create visibility. It's another thing for a documentary like this to be a real agent of change. Because is it going to get to those people in power? All right? And then still going on in that line. So in practical terms, how can media interventions influence policy implementation? Whether around the national gender policy. I mean, there's a national gender policy that prescribes that 35% of women, 35% of people in active politics must be women. But in actual fact, it's not happening. So what place or what role can documentary play in this regard? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think we should give honor to the
yes.
to the filmmaker.
Let's warmly welcome
who has joined us.
Miss Kadaria.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much. Your question was about how we can use documentary like this as change agents, right? Thank you so much. Real change agents. First and foremost, I think Dr. Okhai mentioned something about traditional society. I want to ask this audience, how many people know that in Yoruba culture we've had women who were kings, not regents? How many people know that? We've had women who were Alafin in Oyo. We've had women who were Oni of Ife. The founder of Ondo is a woman, or was a woman, called Pupupu. That's the first Osemawe of Ondo. Pupupu. P-U-P-U-P-U. We had in Elisha. I can go on and on and on. So when we say that women today are fighting for 35% affirmation, we need to ask the question, when did we get to the point where women were sidelined? Without understanding that, even women themselves cannot begin to agitate for their rightful place that they had before colonialism. So if a woman could found an empire, or let's say a kingdom, in our traditional society, if women can be kings and not regents, now we have regents, how did we get to where we are now fighting for women in politics? This is because the structure of Western democracy has pushed back our traditional values where we allow certain things to happen. Yorubas will say, "Kokunrin rejo, kobìnrin pa, kobìnrin rejo, kokunrin pa, kejo ma saloni." It doesn't matter whether the man or the woman sees the snake. The important thing is that the snake must not escape. That was the way the culture was, where everything was complementary. So now we are fighting feminism and all those things are coming up. We need to trace ourselves back. Now, how can documentaries become agents of change? German mentioned earlier that I was involved in development communication, as an area. I wrote, with others, Story with the BBC for 15 years. And we discovered that women were relegated for several reasons. And one of them was structure. The way political parties are structured. When women don't have even the money to buy the forms of maybe 50 million, 100 million, whatever, we have silenced them. They have been pushed aside. So documentaries like this You know, first, documentaries need to be made about where we are coming from and how we got here. To now move to documentaries like this that show women who have insisted that, look, we have so much to do. You have mentioned the fact that women in economics, in academia, women are taking the lead. There are 4 public universities in Lagos. 3 of them are run by women. The Vice Chancellor of Lagos University, my own university, Professor Biyemi Olatunji Bello, the Vice Chancellor of University of Lagos, the Vice Chancellor of Lagos University of Education, and Vice Chancellor of Pan Atlantic University. So if women are in these positions, why can't we give them that opportunity? It has to do with several things. And one of those things that the structure, our political arrangement must be designed in such a way that we won't give excuse that when you are pregnant, you cannot do this. You are a woman, you have to go and cook. By the way, that was the reason why Osemawe, the founder of Ondo, was, after her reign, was taken off because he said that anytime she was in court, that's a lie actually, she would remember that her chickens have not roosted. She would leave them and say, go and attend to it. She wants to cook, she will go and, do you get it now? So for me, documentaries can become powerful, not only when we show these women, but when we go to our past and show women, show society that where we are coming from, women took the lead or they were competing with men at a very, very fair level. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. But Prof, before we move away to you and before we allow the director to also talk some more about the film, and before we come to Dr. Agina, I'm just wondering, because I read History of the Yorubas by Samuel Johnson, and some of the things you have talked about women kings and all that, I don't know, I couldn't find them there. So what is the problem? I mean, the documentation is faulty. Are we going to blame it on colonialism? And how do we substantiate like some of the facts that you have just given us this evening?
The world today is a global village. A Google search will prove what I'm saying, what I've said. Now we also need to remember that Samuel Johnson, Ajayi Crowther, these were missionaries who had their purpose. Yes, they did great jobs, but it then depend on where their perspective, where they're coming from. Without any out of immodesty, even when we talk about documentary films, we are seeing the society from the lens of the director, right? So I'm talking about even now. It's the same thing with the likes of Samuel Johnson and the rest who wrote the History of Yorubas, depending on what they wanted to tell us. But these are facts that you can check online. People are there, please check, you find it there. Alafins of Oyo, they will get the names there. Or Ni of Ife, they will get the names there. And these women were also even going to war. That's an interesting thing.
Thank you so much for the enlightenment, Prof. Thank you. Thank you. And to welcome again the director of this amazing documentary, Ms. Kadaria Ahmed. I hope I'm calling your name correctly. Just to say, I've always admired you, right, for when you were into presentation and all that, and I truly, truly, truly love you. I'm a fan. Okay, so I just want to, before we come to Dr. Agin, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the documentary. Why did you make this documentary at this time? But I kind of gave a little, he called it a keynote before you came in about, but just to say that, because I find out that the film sits at the intersection between documentation and intervention, all right? And it is observing a reality, but it's also clearly engaging with that reality. It's not just observing, it's also engaging. And so I'm looking at what compelled you to take on the project, and how did you conceive the film? Was it as a record of experience, as advocacy, a critique of the system, or all of the above?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me apologize for coming late. I got information that you might be starting late, but the timing of the lateness, I guess I didn't understand how late it was going to be. So I was actually strolling in thinking I was on time. My apologies. I'm normally not this tardy. And thank you to iREP for providing, the platform for this space. Primarily, I'm a journalist. And as a journalist, what happens is in your everyday job, you engage. And the primary areas that I focus on in my journalism is politics and current affairs. And in sitting down, talking to politicians, it becomes, quickly clear that it is not accidental that we're seeing a decline in female representation. The truth is that I think we've seen a decline even in the quality of the people who represent us. And therefore, it isn't surprising that if you have people of less quality in charge, their first, priority is protecting their privilege. They don't have the ability to understand that having women involved and included is actually good for everybody else. And I know that you've heard the studies, and I heard her reading of some of the statistics. But, there are studies that show not just in politics, even in government, boardrooms that are inclusive tend to run businesses that are more progressive. So even the bottom line of a business can be impacted by the absence of women. And I think because sometimes when we have these conversations, it seems really academic, to people. But if you look globally at places where women are fully allowed to realize themselves, there's a direct correlation between the membership of women in spaces and how well a country is doing. It's not accidental that the Nordic countries tend to lead the world when it comes to development indices. And so the issue is we can either, and these issues are now structural. It's true. And Nigeria is not a monolithic. So obviously, the Yoruba culture is not necessarily the culture of other places, and we're now having sort of a national conversation. Within this same country that we call Nigeria today, while the Yorubas might have had traditionally women who were empowered, there are a lot of our communities that didn't. And so therefore, as you've seen a decline in civics, in governance, some of the worst things about us have also become embedded in our cultural space. And the issue is that when we talk about these things, we are not talking about it, in my view, using the right language, because we keep talking about it almost as if women need to be done a favor. And the truth is that if you want your country to do better, and therefore you to do better, if you want to be able to walk into hospitals that work, a justice system that is based on the rule of law, all of those things that are required for us to be able to be proudly Nigerian, you cannot have them if you are negating 50% of your potential. It's really that simple. So even if, inclusion is not something that people, feel that their politics or their culture doesn't allow, perhaps we can start talking about it in terms of enlightened self-interest. It is in the interest of every man here for women to be included. And so for me, when we started looking at the documentary, in the course of my work, like I was saying, you come across this and you realize it is regressing. And other parts of the country, parts of the world that are smaller than Nigeria, that have less potential than Nigeria, that have less educated people than Nigeria. Because look at our exposure, look at what we do when we're abroad. And you notice that they're doing so much better than us. And I wanted to understand why. But I also wanted to be able to give the women agency. I did not think, because they're not a monolith as well. That's the weird thing about it. Just because they're women doesn't mean that, they share ideology or politics or anything like that. So I wanted an authentic story where basically when we have these conversations, we're doing it on the basis of what women themselves in the field are telling us about the issues they face. And I also thought we should see some of this. And so we basically set out to follow. It was 9 women during the 2023 elections. It was a big, shoot, because we had simultaneous crews working across multiple parts of Nigeria. And so my assistant directors were brilliant. I must, give a shout out to Adiola Osuntoku. And I don't know if I always massacre her name. I'm so sorry. And Umi Yakubu, because, and Ishaya Bako, he produced, Double the Minority. And it was difficult because I had to sit down. We created a storyboard because I sort of had a clear idea of what I wanted to see and the film. But then everybody had to take that because I couldn't be at every particular shoot. I was in a lot of them, but I couldn't, because elections were taking place simultaneously, right? Let me not overtalk.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can literally feel the passion. And I mean, I told you I started watching you as a kid, so it didn't start today.
You want to make me feel old now.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's okay. I'm very comfortable in my skin. Thank you very much.
But you're aging gracefully as well. Always pretty, always warm, always cordial. Thank you so much. I mean, the passion had always been there. I could feel it even back then. And I just want to thank you so much. It's an opportunity for me to also thank you for the work you've been doing for decades that's culminating into a documentary like this. Please, a round of applause for her once again. Some of the things that have stayed with me from what you said is that boardrooms that are inclusive are progressive. And I hope that everybody will catch that. When we are inclusive, then we want real progress. Because if the percentage of women is 50%, and the women represented in politics are just 6%, it's not balanced, no balance. So we need to have that balance. Now, I'm going to move a bit into catching them young now, and I'm going to Dr. Agina. I mean, we're both teachers, so you expect us to say something about that. So I'm looking at media, pedagogy, and narrative shaping. So, and now we're not only dealing with political structures, but with systems of conditioning. How men and women are socialized from when they are young, from the classroom, from early education, up until sometimes the tertiary institution, even in communities, in playground. These socializations are happening every day. So, how do we push particular ideas of leadership, authority, and visibility into the young ones? And also in that context, how do documentaries and even films participate in shaping or even disrupting some of the narratives that are pushed to the young ones early on? So, and for the documentaries that we have out there, I mean, of course, we already know what this documentary is doing, but are they reinforcing some of these existing assumptions about gender and power? Or do they have the capacity to recondition how society imagines who is fit to lead? You have the floor.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much. Thanks to the organizers of this festival for creating this platform for us to engage in such an important topic. I have to also thank the filmmaker for giving us this wonderful picture to spark the conversation that we are having today and hopefully will continue to have. Before I delve into the moderator's comments, I would like to gently and respectfully disagree with Dr. Okhai. Are you listening to me, sir? Dr. Okhai, who said that women are the antagonists of women. Sir, I not only disagree, but there is overwhelming evidence to dislodge your comment. One of them being that we have this documentary, Double Minority, by a woman. Many of the initiatives that empower women in the world, not just in Nigeria, are female-led. And so when we say that women are the biggest problems of women without any empirical evidence to support that, we are really doing ourselves an injustice. Having said that, I think that the topic of gender equality is one of the most contentious subjects we can ever talk about in the world. Perhaps that's why the United Nations included it in the SDG. Because whenever we talk about gender and the fact that women and men are equal in dignity and should complement one another, I find that men often get uneasy about it, and I don't know why. Possibly the reason could be that they misunderstand what we mean by gender equality, or if you like, gender equity. They are two distinct concepts, but I think it's necessary for us to begin to understand what we really mean by that. In November last year, I was on a panel like this where I spoke about gender equity in storytelling to a large audience of about 500 people. And the Nollywood men in the audience were up in arms against the call for gender equity in storytelling. Until today, March 21st, I struggle to understand why anybody would resist such a thought. Now, how should we catch them young? There are many reasons to go present for that, but let me stick to the assignment that's been given to me on this panel. How should we catch them young? Bring the documentaries into the classroom. Engage with the documentaries and the pictures that talk about women's political participation. Let the students start to interact with this, write similar stories, work with the filmmakers who are producing such stories, write stories of their own when they have assignments. I tell my students, when you have an assignment to make a short film, it's not just to talk about love triangles. You need to engage with the real issues of our society today. And if that is women's participation in politics, then you should also want to talk about those. Coming to this panel today, I brought with me a very important book written in 2020, Women and Leadership, Real Lives, Real Lessons, in conversation with some of the world's most powerful women, written by Julia Gillard, former Prime Minister of Australia, and our own Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And the narratives presented in this book are very, very, very similar to what we have in this documentary. It says that it's not only allowing women to get into elective or appointive positions, but that when they get into those positions of power or governance, they are often intimidated, bullied, persecuted, not allowed to be themselves. So that when a woman walks into a boardroom, instead of listening to what she has to say and the subject she's bringing to the table, you're looking at her shoes, her makeup, her hairstyle, things that actually distract. And by the time you've spent all the board meeting time looking at those things, you don't remember what she says, so that when it comes to implementing, you fall short because you have done yourself the disservice of not paying attention to what the woman has to say. So it's very important that we recognize women as equals and that we find ways to disseminate this message, to encourage the youngsters to look beyond what society might want us to believe in terms of the conditioning, in terms of the fact that people say men are superior to women or they have more physical energy and such other arguments, and to see that women, when they are invited, allowed, given access to participate in national discourses, they bring a whole range of ideas and insights and perspectives that we would not have were they absent from those conversations. We can't say this enough. We need to continue provoking conversations of this sort so that more people can see how inclusive they need to be. So that when we say gender equality in politics, we are not telling the men, leave the room so that women may enter. We're saying, stay where you are, but create the spaces for women to also be there and participate. Because by nature, they bring the kinds of instincts and perspectives and vision that men don't have. The male brain is very different from the female brain, and this goes a long way in explaining how people see things and approach a particular subject matter. So yes, we need to circulate this documentary. We need to also encourage the production of similar documentaries, because Nigeria has elections coming next year, and we need to encourage the participation of women. Yes. And when we see that women are standing up, right, to vie for political positions, what we need to do is to support them. What we need to do is to ensure that they understand all of the dynamics of our society, politics, religion, ethnicity, governance, fiscal policy, etc., in ways that can make them productive and progressive in what they do. We shouldn't pull them down in very different, sometimes narcissistic ways. When Funke Akindele was campaigning for the deputy governor
of Lagos,
the deputy governor of Lagos State with her running mates, a lot of the arguments I saw, rather disappointingly, in social media was, why can she not face her comedy? Why can she not mind what she's been doing? Can Jennifer go and be Jennifer and leave politics for people who know how to do politics? And I found that extremely disparaging. Why can't she be allowed to get in there and do it? It is true that entertainment is different from governance. No one is saying that they are the same thing. But if someone puts herself out there, especially in positions or in a country like ours where we know that majority of women may not want to be in political offices, instead of making such disparaging comments and discouraging the woman, we should be supportive. We should encourage her.
I agree.
We should promote that cause.
Absolutely.
We should find ways to send that message to the farthest corners of a country. Because until you try it, you don't know what's going to happen. And all the women in this book, 8 of them, from Jacinda Ardern to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to Erna Solberg, Hillary Clinton, Theresa May, Joyce Banda, Christine Lagarde, all of them shared the same kinds of obstacles that any woman in any political position or in any leadership position, for that matter, will go through, which is that men feel intimidated, and because they feel intimidated and vulnerable because you are there as a woman, they try to undermine you. That's something that shouldn't be allowed to stand. When we find that a woman is being bullied, as all of us witnessed last year with the story of Senator Natasha, what do? How do we lend our voices to such a cause? How do we, in our own little ways, promote the causes of women so that they can thrive and flourish? Because the systemic injustices will not go away if you and I don't do something about it. So again, from our homes, because the people here have children, right? Teach your boys that girls have to be respected. Teach your boys that girls are human beings of equal dignity as they are. Teach them that girls can do anything that boys can do. Teach them that the genders have to be complementary. None is superior to the other in a way that would warrant putting them down for the other.
Absolutely.
And when we do that, we will see that our world will continue to be a better place. Because as our film director here has said, if you don't admit the 50% that women represent, what kind of development do you want to have? What kind of society do you want to have? And how will history excuse you for the pain and the shortcomings that you yourself have imposed on yourself because you have ignored women? Thank you.
Thank you so much. In fact, the conversation has started. The change has started. I can feel it. Thank you so much for that contribution, Dr. Agina. I know that Dr. Victor Okhai wants to react to it, but not immediately. You will get a chance later. I know, but... So we need to open the floor. But just before we open the floor, I have a question that is to all the panelists. And I would say that we should just take just a few seconds or maximum 1 minute to react to this question, because I feel like the question is like really germane to this conversation. And the question is, now, we already established that women are very central in the families, in the homes, in the community, in the informal economics, in the marketplace, even in corporate settings, in entertainment, and all of that. Even in the church, in the mosque. So now, if women are deeply embedded in the everyday work of organizing communities and sustaining political participation, why does that not translate into political legitimacy and power? What exactly is the system protecting when it resists that important transition? I don't know, who wants to go first? Just 1 minute. You don't understand the question. Okay, I've already established right now that women are very embedded in community building, in the families, in solving problems. They are also working hard in the boardrooms. We already established that of the entertainment industry as well as in the banks and so on and so forth. So the question is, why are they not leading in politics? Why is the structure pulling them down? Why is the system resisting their active participation?
Let me
And
have a go.
maybe when you are answering your part of the question, then you can talk about the empirical evidence that you have for Dr. Agina.
Yeah. I wasn't here when he spoke, right? But it's important I make a comment as well about these women pulling down women that they like to talk about. When a man stands up to run for political office, his biggest opponents are other men. Men kill men for politics. Men cheat men for politics. You never ever hear the phrase that men are against men. That framing, that language is quite deliberate. It is designed to put women against each other. It is designed to make us look at, it is designed to make us think of structural problems as women problems or women issues, right? So when men do things to each other, it's not framed around gender. You understand? It's like they are people. People will be people. But when women, and this is what I'm saying, the idea that women are this monolithic and that they will not disagree or whatever is another denial of our humanity. That is essentially what it is. We're not allowed to fight each other without it being as something, that is put forward to disparage us even further. So I just wanted to say that. In terms of the issues why men, in my film, one of the women we spoke to was Chimamanda Adichie, and she said this thing that I'll never forget, that essentially when we talk about affirmative action for women, what it is that culture for a very long time is essentially affirmative culture for men. And we don't talk about it, because what culture does is protect spaces for men and say that women can't do this, or it's not our culture, it's not our culture. So culture is essentially affirmative action for men that we've had for years. And when it comes to women, they say, oh, women don't, deserve that. In terms of why do they resist, it's the same thing. Nobody gives up privilege willingly.
Like one of the men said in the documentary, that he will support women so far as he can retain his seat.
And I think part of the approach is that if there's anything we don't do well is we don't organize well. And so, organizing to deal with the structural issues of financing, issues of violence, issues of culture, all of those things require us coming together and working as a collective, and that's really the answer.
Thank you so much. You are itching too.
We're itching very much, and I'm in total disagreement with Kadaria. Permit me. Eh?
No, it's fine.
First of all, you see, when it comes to structure and merit, women actually have their way. That's why they are tops in the banks right now. They have worked their way to the bank based on merit. True or false? In Nollywood, based on merit also, they've worked their way to the top. True or false? Nobody is stopping them when it comes to where, when your brain speaks, it's very loud and clear. 2011, Sarah Jibril, my evidence number one, said this will continue to haunt women for the rest of their lives. PDP primaries, she was the only one who voted for herself. Is it true or true? Eh? Were there not hundreds of other women in that same convention? Eh? I will give you other examples. They provoked it. This would have gone like that, but I had to go and get evidence because they wanted evidence. The second one, 2023, Stella Odua and what's her name? No, the former governor's wife, Anambra North Senatorial District. They fought themselves to a standstill. They would not step down for each other. Tony Nwoye, who was like a nobody, ended up carrying it away because the women not agree for each other. Yeah? We might say for men, yes, men do the same thing. But the point I'm making is this. If it is about solidarity, you cannot say that people are not giving women a chance. That claim, I don't agree with that claim. Because you are not, sorry, allow me now. When I'm passionate, I'm like this. You see, when they want to blackmail us, they say men are not giving them a chance. Who will give you a chance? It is there, based on your merit. Go and get it. You understand? Struggle for it like everybody else because you are, first of all, a human being. You have demonstrated that in banking. On your merit, you got it. You demonstrated that in other areas. You went and you got it. Other women are demonstrating in other countries and they are getting it. Why should it be different in Nigeria that you say men are depriving you?
You talk almost as if the men in politics are going there because they are meritorious. What is it, the men that we have that are politicians, is it merit that took them there?
Men support men, women don't support men.
No, the point, no.
Okay. No. We need to move on.
No. It's really, excuse me, we're
going to open the floor. We are going to open the floor.
My tendency to trivialize this by having very emotional conversations around the engagement of women and trying to sort of dismiss structural issues. When you compare women in banking to women in politics and talk about merit, it isn't as if our political system is throwing up men who are there by merit. Anyway, men that are in politics today, maybe a handful are there by merit, but the majority are there because they can bribe, they can kill, they can rig. No, I'm not joking. They can, excuse me, please, let me finish. And they can outspend their opponents. So one of the things, for example, that my documentary found is that funding, money, is a really limiting factor for women when it comes to politics. So if a Sarah Jibril had dollars to buy delegates, I assure you she will not have gotten only one vote. It wasn't her gender that stopped her from getting votes. It was the fact that she could not compete with the criteria that is currently the currency for people to get into political office. It's really important we say that.
Dr. Okhai, let's have one house. It's a very, yes, I like the passion.
It's a pocket issue, it's not a gender issue. It's a pocket issue, it's not a gender issue.
Moderator, please.
Noted. I know that the conversation is very heated. That is the agenda. That is what we want, because I believe that that is when real change can start. But then we need to have the comments of the two other panelists. So, yes, sir.
Well, you said 1 minute. People have taken more than 1 minute, so, I want to disagree with Dr. Victor Okhai, my good friend. I'm going to disagree with you. And as Kadaria said, we need to understand the layers of obstacles that are placed, before the woman when it comes to politics. Just cast your mind to the society. Why do businesses set up by individuals succeed in Nigeria? And businesses set up by government fail? Why? Because the structures, the organogram, the system allows for fairness in these other places that we are talking about, in banking, in education, and all those things. The gates, when it comes to politics, are different. We need to admit that. It's not about any emotional thing. In the academia, you publish papers, you do this, you do that. The rules are set. You'll be elevated. No, it's not the same thing in politics.
It's not the same.
Sir, I can say that it's not the same thing in politics. And I'm talking as somebody who has been on the field for over 20 years, talking and working development. He who controls, there's a control that women are given that makes women not to be able to move. One of them is economics. I think it was Virginia Woolf that wrote the book, A Room of One's Own. When you don't have a home of your own, and you are subjected to somebody, even your decision to go and compete or contest can be censored from your home. That's a layer. That layer won't be there if you wanted to come and contest to be bank manager. It won't be there if you want to become vice chancellor. Men will proudly support. And why would men sometimes say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that? It's because they see the political climate, the risk of the brigandage, killings, all those things. Every man wants to say, I want to shield my wife, I want to shield my daughter, I want to shield from them. That's because we have created a system. Many of us sitting here, during this coming election, we won't vote. Why? Because the area boys may chase us away. And women will not want to be part of that. So naturally, I'm talking as a teacher too, many female students are not interested in campus politics because there will be clandestine. And I want young people to listen to this. Young women here, please leave your phones for now and listen. Please leave your phones now and listen. Until you begin to organize yourselves. If some people who have less intelligence than you become your student union leaders or your faculty leaders and the rest, you are going to be the one to suffer. I know many young girls who don't come to school on the day of voting in schools.
Because of fear. Because
of fear of intimidation, harassment, fighting among boys and the rest. So the system is violent. And that violence is one that we want to keep women away.
Yes.
The second one is money. Go and raise 100 million. Go and find out 100 million to buy a form. So when you say it is a pocket issue, who controls that pocket? Is it a wife at home that is saddled with responsibility of taking care of the home that will go and hustle for 100 million? So our political system has to change. We have been debating, in the House of Assembly, they've been debating electoral acts, how to change some things. They've not been able to agree to even have independent candidates. That is how it is.
Okay.
So if you say that women don't support women, I don't believe so. Men don't support men in most cases, and we don't generalize those things. So when women also don't support women, all of us can act or think the same way. So the way it is with women, with men, is the way it is with men. They cannot go the same way.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Prof.
you so much.
Thank you so much for your intervention. Dr. Agina.
Thank you. I'm going to make two concluding points. The first is what has already been spotted here, which is that women have to take control. Women have to exercise their own agency. Because if women continue to wait for doors to open for them, I'm afraid they will continue to find those doors shut to them. And so women have to lead the charge, right? Go forward, go ahead, don't be held back, do it afraid, if you must do it. And on that note, I would say to the men, when you find a woman aspiring to public office, support her. That's what we're
Very
saying,
important.
support her. And the second point I want to make is that we should not trivialize this conversation by being dismissive. Because again, when we do that, we find that we're hurting ourselves in the short and the long term. It's not enough to bring forward the kinds of arguments that we're hearing here about women not supporting women. There are systemic problems. Our society, our culture, our religion, our ethnicity have coalesced to stop women from getting into those positions. Years ago, a former student of mine was going to stand for local government chairperson. And she was told, go and get married first. Why? How does anybody explain that? Is there such a thing as marital gene supporting a political aspiration, for example? Why should a woman's performance in governance be coupled with her marital status? This is a societal problem. We can't ignore that. We have to dislodge some of those assumptions that our culture continues to promote because they prevent women from actually contributing meaningfully and powerfully to the society. So there are ways, or even when you think about Omani Oboli's film, Love is War, when she starts that by saying that marriage has disenfranchised her. So a woman from Rivers State wants to stand for a governorship position in her husband's place, who is from Ogun State, and they tell her, you are not from Ogun State, go away. And then she goes to Rivers State and they tell her, you're married to an Ogun State
where is
man,
she?
go
Where
away.
is she
so
from?
where exactly should she be? So Dr. Okhai, this is for you to think about today.
But
and this is for the audience also to think about, that there are issues, concerns, problems in our culture,
there are real
in
problems.
our society,
There are real
in
problems.
our religion, in our norms and beliefs that marginalize the women. And we have to recognize these things, put them to the fore in places where policymakers can hear and see and begin to shift
the culture.
paradigm. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, but before I want to, so this is what I want to do. I know everybody is still having stuff that they want to talk about, but I want to open the floor. So when it is, so we're going to take questions. So when you're reacting to the questions, you can also speak to whatever is left. Okay. All right. Anyway, so let's go on. So we're going to take, say, 5 questions or 6 questions. I don't think we'll be able to do more than that. And we'll take all the questions at a go, and then we'll have the reactions at a go so that we can save time. I haven't seen any woman out. Yeah, I know, but sir, you already have the microphone, so we'll have you, sir, Fidelis Duka, I'm sure. And then, okay, yes, a woman, yes, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you. That's it. I hope you know your numbers. Okay, thank you. Papa, you have the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My name is Oludamola. I've been listening to everybody and what they've been saying. I want to cite some examples. First of all, my sister, in the United States of America, during that Barack Obama's election, Hillary Clinton was in the system to fight for presidency, right? Why did you think the Americans just push her away and Barack Obama won that election? Politics is not a child's play, and it is the same thing everywhere in the world.
women, children.
So if you want to be at the top, you have to struggle for it. It is the same thing everywhere in the world. Nobody is debarring women from being at the top. Nobody. If I
Okay.
Shall I?
Yeah, just in 30 seconds, sir. Just try to summarize what you want to talk about.
I want to cite another example. I remember some years back, 1974, we had women commissioner for information in Western State. We had one in Bender State, Midwest, a daughter of Okotiebo. So women had always had the opportunity to be in the forefront. But when it comes to politics, you have to struggle for it. They don't give it to people on a platter of gold. So if a woman now says
made your point,
they want
sir.
to be in Nigerian politics, you have to fight for it.
Yes, sir.
So this
Mr.
gender
Okekole.
thing has to have a
Yes, sir.
limit.
You made your point, sir. So to number 2, Mr. Fidelis Duka. 1 minute, just 1 minute.
A very good evening to everybody and the panelists. Engaging conversation so far. I just want to draw our attention to some very interesting points we've missed out. A woman has been a governor in this country at a point in time, in Anambra State. She was voted as a deputy governor and became governor. A woman has been number 4 in this country, Chike. What has happened is that the women slept. The kind of fight the women are fighting now, I bet you in 2027 we'll have more women in that house. We won't have 4 women senators. You see, in this country, anywhere in the world, you must fight for it. The same thing with Nollywood. People are talking about the women doing well. 25 years ago when we were making films, there were very few women making films. Only Amaka Igwe and maybe 1 or 2 others. It was basically the men. Our names were the names we were hearing. So I'm telling you that even in the media, I think what the women are doing now, we must commend them. They are agitating now. They are talking. They are coming out. And I'm telling you that in 2027, they'll get it. The men will continue to tell you that you must fight for it. And that's the most important part. I do not want the women to be given peanuts. They should fight for it. They have a right. They control 49% of our population.
Okay.
They have a right to fight for it and get it.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 3, thank you. Please introduce yourself. Thank you.
I'm Monica Dave from Treasure. When I hear women have to fight for it, I'm wondering, at what point did we say give it to us on a platter? We never said that. We don't expect that. Let's backtrack a little and go back in the days. There were more women in the parliament, but in the same Nigeria. But what happened? Party structures. Within the parties, things changed and women were schemed out. You cannot say women, do you know how much it is to get a form to vie for anything? It's too much. Yes. Free for women.
But in the documentary,
the party structure is muzzling women
in reality.
out. Now take a look at what's happening in Ogun State at the moment. We have 3 women aspiring to be governors of Ogun State. I'm keenly watching what's going to happen, whether the 3 women will be skewed out again or schemed out again by that party, because interestingly, the 3 of them are in the same party. Let's watch what's going to happen at the primaries. I remember, was that Taraba in the last election? Benani. What happened? What did she do really? Schemed out. So let us, not really. And then that brings me to the question.
Okay, please make the point.
That brings me to the same point before I step
Please,
down.
can we have one house, please? Thank you.
The same point, women are not scared of politics. We make the world go round. Let's get the facts straight. Wherever, look at the banks in Nigeria now. Many of the banks are run by women.
Yes.
We are not afraid of you. It's about the men not being afraid of what women can bring to the table. I read an article the other day, Who's Afraid of Madam President? It's an article out there, you can Google it and read it and find out what are the men really afraid of in Nigeria, because the women are ready.
Thank you so much. There's a Sopatas club by that side. Okay, yeah, number 4. Thank you.
You say, my name is...
1 minute.
Okay, I am Adeoye Idris, and I want to thank you for this particular section. I'm going to start with this, that gender-based issue is a very sensitive issue that we have to be extremely careful when we are talking about or when we are analyzing it. But particularly, I have a problem with this particular thing about, feminism or anything that has to do with female marginalization. Because I think it's something we created out of some person's figment of imagination. We shouldn't, problem is a ubiquitous thing, it happens everywhere. We shouldn't we shouldn't make it a gender-based. So my question goes to you, ma'am. I'm going to quote you, and I want you to explicitly explain what you meant by your statement. You said that men should be where they are, but they should create space for women. Are you talking about giving women preferences? I want you to actually explain what you mean by that.
Okay, we'll call. Thank you for that. Can we go to number 5?
Thank you. Interesting conversation. My name is Timothy Crown.
1 minute.
Start by asking the film director what the title means, double minority, which is the first minority, which is the second minority, for us to arrive at the title that. And secondly, there's a data that gives women in Nigeria 49.4% to that of men, which is 50.6%. And like we all know, or like it's known, that politics is a game of number. And if that were to be the case, no woman should, in any contest, come least, except there are more women in that contest. What I mean by that is that since women are making this agitation, of course, which is good for the polity, which is good for the conversation, women should have a place at the table. Women should come to leadership, elective position, particularly now. Then I think it's high time that women have an agreement to say that except there are no women contenders for certain positions, no woman must support any other person except the woman contender. I think while men are being crucified for not supporting, for not giving spaces to women, I think maybe the time comes that women make that agreement. Of course, I think it's only insecure men who will see women as contenders, who see women as inferior. I think it's men who have, who need their brains being checked,
to be examined. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have made a point. Thank you so much. Number 6. Is it number 6? Wait, there's a number that we're following. You're number 6. Yes, please. Yes, we would have her because we're talking about equity, equality, diversity, inclusion.
My name is Ali-Balogun. I have enjoyed the discussion this evening. It's been very fantastic. All the panelists have expressed strong position, and in a way, I share the sentiment of everybody. Because 19 years ago, 2007 precisely, I got involved with politics, Nigerian politics actively, and I've been on the field since then. I'm hoping to bow out next year. That will make it 20 years. So I have a lot of experience. I know what Dr. Okhai is talking about when he says women sometimes do not give themselves the needed support. And I feel with what the madam there is saying that women does not need space. But most importantly, the real question is The real issue is that, like the producer rightly said, quality of people in politics have dropped so much, and it's not even only quality of people in politics. Quality of people generally in our societies have dropped. We do not have quality people in so many areas, and we need to raise the level of quality of people, and that is where women came in, because they are the determiner of the quality men will come in, and the quality women themselves will come in. Okay. All rest on the women that are giving back to us, and the type of upbringing they give to us. Okay. Education they give to us. Okay. Politics is not something you wake up one day and jump into. Politics should have been inbuilt in you from the beginning of your life. Okay. But have been set in your minds at this. And then in politics.
Thank you. I think you've made your point.
In politics, we talk about contenders and pretenders. Most of the time, women always come in like pretenders. Because they are coming into politics. It's sometimes, I said sometimes, it's not always with their conviction, also because politics takes a lot of things. It takes all your mental energy. It takes your physical energy.
Thank you. I think you have made your point. So women need to be, thank you.
I pray for more women in the politics.
Thank you. I think you have made your point.
Please. Religion is very important, but the religion we are practicing is not our religion. Yes, that's what I want to say to her.
Okay, let's not.
Our religion. The religion we are practicing today in Nigeria is not our religion. It's an imported religion, imperialistic religion.
Okay, let's not go that far. But you have made your point. Thank you so much.
Women embrace religion so much.
They will respond to it. But I want to take one last, for this, I hope we'll be able to do another round. There is a young lady there who has been itching to talk. Please, for fairness and equity, she needs to talk.
Okay, so in life, there are nuances. And in as much as some women are enablers of this toxic mentality of, oh, men should be. That is because of the systems already put in place that has conditioned these women to think that only a man should rule. Now, there was an example one of the panelists made about, oh, there was a woman at Lafi. I don't know if you're talking about, I had to make my research before coming to ask, you are talking about Orompoto? Yes. Thank you so much for the correction. Even Orompoto, when she was about to become the Alafin, was asked to prove her masculinity, and she had to come up, mention like, oh, quite a number or a 1% of people. So why should women, even to this day, how else to show that, okay, they deserve to be in these positions, when some men, I'll not say all men, when some men don't have to do all that to get to the places that they are in. So why do we have to cower?
Thank you so much. Okay, so there's, how do we handle this? I think maybe we should take just 2 more questions, and we will not take any more questions. And we'll just have the reactions from the panelists, because there seems to be a lot. The what? The students. Okay, so I will take number 1, number 2, and that's it. Oh, number 3. But you have 30 seconds. 30 seconds to make.
From what she said, women have been disenfranchised. Yes, a woman got married to Ogun. She can't contest in Ogun. She can't contest in Rivers because she's married in Ogun. Don't forget, we are life givers. Women give birth to children. They give birth to men. And now you're saying women do not support women enough. It's not something that we just wake up and say, no, we cannot support fellow women. For example, I bear a son that wants to be a governor. And then my sister wants to be governor. What do you think I should do? So when you say women do not support women, sometimes it's not as if like we don't love our fellow women, but we bear children, we have brothers as well. We have ties to the opposite sex, and we just have to give in sometimes. So it's not as if we are selfish or we don't love our fellow women.
Okay, points noted. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Yes, let's have him.
Thank you. My name is Remy. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. My first question is to Dr. Anuli. I hope I'm correct. You said earlier that you were at an event of about 500 people, and you said that gender equity, you asked for gender equity in storytelling, and you said people were up in arms. So I just want to understand the context of what you said. Did you mean gender equity in the stories, or gender equity in the heart of telling the stories? Because there are different things, and I want to understand why they were up in arms. So I hope you get to answer that. Then my second thought is on what's been prescribed to the ladies in politics. It was said by the panelists, was echoed around that women should fight for it. And I want to understand the context of that fight for it.
Fight for it.
Because to me, it sounds like an admittance that the playground is not level. Like it's skewed to favor the men. So you are telling them, fight to come to the same level. And I think women are not asking you to give them on a platter of gold. They are saying, make the playground level, then we can
create
fight
the
for.
structure.
So
that
is what the way I see it. My immediate team, I'm into production. We're about 6, 7, and I never intended it. I have about 5 women.
Wow.
Because they are the right persons for the role. I don't care if you are male or female who can do the job right. It should be the same thing in politics. So if you say women should fight for it, I think you should mean they should qualify for it.
It's a problematic statement.
I think.
Thank you, thank you. And finally, we're having him, and that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Victor Eniola. So for me, I think it is first a culture problem before it is a system problem. So we have a culture that for a long time have segregated women, and I think that culture has entered into our system, our political structures. So now, currently in the National Assembly, there's a bill that's 35% reserved seats for women, mandating all elected officials to appoint about 35% women in their cabinet. So for me, I think that's where we can start from. So what is it that the women are doing to push this bill? Because the bill is currently
implement.
stopped. Yes. What is it that the women are doing to push this bill? Because I feel like that is the place that we can start from. Thank you.
Okay, talk is cheap. Okay, thank you so much. We're going to have the reactions now, and the reactions has to be in exactly 1 minute. Like, I'm going to set a timer. Okay, yes. Go ahead, Dr. Agina. Thank you so much for to everyone in the audience that has contributed, and to those that have not contributed. I know you're itching to talk, and we're also encouraging more women to talk in gatherings like this. It starts from there. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. First, let me say that this conversation does not need to end in this room, right? If everyone's on social media, are you tweeting, sharing, posting, liking, or whatever iREP is doing today? Because that's one way of continuing the conversation. So let me respond to the questions asked of me. When I said gender equity in storytelling, I meant in the narratives, right, within the stories. And that's an idea that I got, fortunately, from Uncle Femi Odugbemi, who said, we need to be bold enough, I'm paraphrasing him now, we need to be bold enough to create the future that we want. If we want an equitable society, and knowing the power that Nollywood wields, not just in Nigeria, but in the continent and elsewhere, we need to get to the point where we are courageously depicting an equitable society in taking that. So why are you calling for that? But when you look at it critically, you find that it's only a handful of women who are actually wielding that power. And we still need to create room for many women to come on board, which is why I celebrate and invite many women to that table. So talk about women pulling women down, Dr. Okhai. To respond to the other question that was asked about what I mean when I say men should remain where they are and create room for women, that's something that I am formulating based on the experience of last November, where men were feeling threatened or vulnerable because they heard gender equality. I'm not saying men should give up their spaces or their places. I'm saying when a woman rises to vie for political power, don't pull her down, don't disparage her, don't undermine her work, allow her to thrive. Just as the woman who was told to go and find a husband because she wanted to be the local government chairperson was disrespected. Men should not do that. That's what I'm calling for. And finally, I'd like to say, please, moderator. When I say that women need to be more politically active, I am not in any way calling for incompetence. Okay? I'm not saying vote for a woman just because she's a woman, whether or not she is competent enough to do the job. All right, we have to be objective here. If you are able to establish that a woman will not be competent at her job in governance, then by all means do not vote for her, okay? And give her that feedback because it would help her in her next pursuit. So we must encourage women's participation at the same time as we're calling for competence and integrity, because that's what will get the job done.
From both,
Thank you.
both male and female now.
From both male and
Yes.
female, absolutely. Thanks for adding
Thank you
that.
so much. Thank you. So I think we should have the comments from the other panelists before we talk. We have let the director have the final say. Okay. So who's going next? Do you have comments?
Okay,
or?
just comments. The young woman that said that the Orangpota was asked to prove herself. We need to understand that culture. I'm not sure that she had a penis. No. Prove yourself as a man. In Yoruba culture, kings lead wars. They fight wars. So that's a metaphor to say, show us that you're a man, that you are man enough in this sense that you are brave enough to go to war. And she did go to war. There's also a myth that that she was asked to cut off her breast, and she cut off her breast. All those things are not true. But the fact, what we have in history is that she led wars and was actually a warrior. And finally, we need to understand, as I said from the beginning, where we got to this level where we are debating whether women should be in politics or not, or all those things. In the Elisha culture, if you are a girl child and you go out to marry, your son has a right to the throne until 1974, when it was changed. So we need to understand these things. And that's why I said from the beginning that women need to understand where we were before the colonial masters came and turn things around, and we need to now begin to fight for women to take their rightful place in society. We need to understand that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you very much. Let me start by appreciating the director for setting the agenda for this discussion, not just here, but beyond here as well. And I think it has very well served the purpose. Thank you very much for it. And to iREP also for providing this platform. And I just want to make it clear, my challenge, what I'm saying, I'm a pro-woman person. All I'm saying is, women, please support women. If we look at it statistically, there's no reason why a woman cannot be president in this country if women support women. So that is the thesis of my argument. As we live here today, let women, even if you were doing something before, do a lot more. Rally around the women, support the women, and then let's give them a chance. Perhaps Nigeria will be better for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Okhai. You have the floor, ma'am.
Okay. The gentleman here talked about Hillary Clinton. And I think I want to give an example that maybe would help people break it down. In the United States, until recently when President Trump came in and started dismantling it, there was something called DEI, which is essentially affirmative action for minorities. It was both gender but also color-based. Yeah. So a society looked at itself, realized that there are structural problems why black people in America are not doing as well as white people, and decided that they will do a few things to address those structural problems. Because I find when you tell men, black men, particularly black men who've lived abroad, about affirmative action on the basis of color, they get it. But when you talk to them about the same, because it's the same principle in play, when we talk about, say, special seats for women, it is a system recognizing structural problems and trying to find formal ways of addressing those structural problems. And you know, it is possible to chew gum and walk at the same time. It is important that we emphasize the agency women have and to be able to sort of do things for themselves. But that does not take away from some of the issues which are structural. I'm happy the young man raised the issue of the special seats. When the first attempt was made, women didn't attempt to say we want extra seats in parliament. They wanted existing seats put aside, and we've seen it in different countries. Places like Rwanda, recognizing the importance, will put away seats, and it's not the only country. Across the continent and even in Europe, there is some sort of affirmative action in many parliaments where seats are reserved for women. So there's nothing new about what was being asked. When those bills failed, they then said, okay, I disagreed with it because I think our parliament is already too big. But they said, okay, give us special seats because that way you're not losing your seats. They proposed 1 seat per state. The bill currently making its way in parliament is asking for only 6 seats. So 36 has been reduced to 6. And I can tell you that sources in parliament have already told me that even that bill is not going to pass because they've just been told to indulge the women. Men are not ready to give up privilege, certainly not the quality of the kind of men we have in the current National Assembly. Because community and public well-being, I hear people saying women support women, but men need to support women for their own good as well, right? So if you want to genuinely have a country that you're proud of, that things work, you really have to ensure that more women are represented, because that means diversity of ideas, that means diversity of of thought, that means diversity of way of doing things. Because while we are fully human, and I was laughing when somebody said, why can't all the women rally around? You want us to be superhuman. You don't ask of yourself what you ask of us. You don't give yourself the same standards. Does every man support every man? No. So women are full human beings, and that means they are also diverse. That means ideologically they differ. That means all you need to do as a man who is interested in nation building is work on reducing structural problems. And then everything else will work out. There will be women to the left, there will be women to the center, there will be women in the middle. But those structural issues have to be addressed. And if they are not addressed, then generally society is poorer for it. And that's the bottom line. Look at where Nigeria is. Do you really want it to remain that way? And that's the question that you need to ask yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. This has been the most explosive panel. We want to thank our director once again for making this important film. I mean, look at the conversations that it has started. But beyond the conversations, we should also walk the talk. We should support the women. We should always remember that women are full human beings capable of doing most of what men can do. So thank you so much, sir.
Please, just for 1 minute, we're discussing this because somebody made a film. Yes. And the film touches all of us. Thank you very much, Kaderia. And I think at iREP, the reason we do what we do, where we insist on plenary on this conversation, is because double minority, yeah. Because we want to encourage people to make more films. So the chairperson of iREP Board of Trustees is here, and I think he just whispered something to me.
We deliberately set up this film because we live in a country where young girls, it's dangerous for them to get educated. And we also have young women who are filmmakers here. And we also have young men too, right, who should learn and probe that question. Why is it so dangerous for a girl to get educated in Nigeria today? Why would over 200 girls be kidnapped? Try to explain it to yourself, right? So when we are asking filmmakers to do documentaries, we're asking them to ask these complex questions and find the most effective way to make sure this topic does not embarrassingly go away. So to that effect, we're setting up one of the prizes for the young filmmakers in the forthcoming, dedicated to the story of Nigerian girls and women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the panelists. Thank you for making the film, and thank you for contributing your ideas. And for those who make comments, thank you. The recordings will be available for all of us to. We have to revisit this matter, and the conversation continues. We should be taking picture with them. Well, Professor Awam, since you are inside the hall, no, you have to come there. Please, the plenary is rising, but then there are films. There are films still going on. In screen one, we have Who is Afraid of Ngugi by Mantia Diawara. Of course, we know Ngugi wa Thiong'o. So just walk down the road there, then you see you can take your photo, please. And then screen two, we have the evolution of Adeoye. That film was delayed so that we can join them. In screen two, Feyi, please. Okay. Feyi, please ensure that you direct them to screen one and screen two. Screen one,